What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. As always, I am Caleb Johnson. I don't exactly have a series name for this yet, but this is going to go under my baseball section of things. Today, we have a special guest, Chase Nixon. Today, I'm going to add him to the screen. Chase, how we doing?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you so much for coming on. It's an honor to have you, and you are my first guest on the show, so I really appreciate you giving some of your time today.
Yeah, man. I love hopping on these podcasts. Yeah, man. I'm stoked to be here and yeah, man, excited for it.
Absolutely. So, for those who don't know, Chase is a left fielder for the University of Memphis baseball. How did your weekend go? I saw y'all beat Florida Atlantic 2-1 in the series, so got a nice little win.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a really big series for us. FAU is a great baseball program. A lot of talent over there, a lot of new guys over there as well. They're one of the better teams in the conference. So going in there and playing there and winning that series was big for us.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so I go to ECU and they came in
Oh
here and
no.
absolutely raked all over the ballpark on us.
Yeah.
So I saw you had a pretty good game on Saturday. So congrats for that. For those who don't know, guys, Chase's dad is Red Sox Hall of Famer and World Series champion Trot Nixon. So we're going to get into a little bit of that in just a minute, but we're going to start all the way from the very beginning on the day you were born. So I was doing some research and I saw that you were born on 9/11. So I would assume that there's a pretty crazy story behind that. So I'd love if you'd share that with us.
Yeah, no, it is a very, very insane story. So my dad was playing against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time. Today they're known as just the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it was in September, and it was towards the end of the year. Playoffs are getting close. My mom is in Boston in the hospital, and yeah, I think the plan was for my dad to fly back for my birth. And his flight from Tampa to Boston got grounded in Virginia. I believe it was Richmond, Virginia, and because of the terrorist attacks,
Uh,
and he had to basically drive up from Virginia to Boston, and was late to my birth, but he definitely did his best to get up there. So that was kind of the story with it. My mom didn't know any of the things going on in the outside world while she was in labor, so thankfully, she didn't hear about all the terrible things. I mean,
yeah,
that
I
would
couldn't
happen.
imagine,
But
man.
yeah, it was a very stressful time for the country, and thankfully, Dad got up there. When he did. But yeah, man,
Absolutely.
crazy
And
day.
safely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So you talked a little bit about your mom. Obviously, your dad is a very successful guy. I was reading up on your mom a little bit, and she also seems to be a very successful person as well. She's a nurse, co-owner of a business, kids book author, and I believe a college cheerleader. Kind of just talk about growing up in that household with your two parents and kind of how they like raised you and it kind of expected excellence from you and what that environment was like.
Yeah, man. I mean, you said it perfectly, right? It's a standard of excellence that was set for me and for my brother at a very young age. Both of my
Mhm.
parents super high achievers in their fields. And just growing up around that, and just kind of being in that house, and the reinforcement of the, hey, man, you can do amazing things if you work hard, put your mind to it, just permeated through our house and allowed for me and for Luke to go out and become high achievers in our own rights.
Absolutely. So, kind of just talk about, obviously growing up playing baseball, what it's like to have a major leaguer and a World Series champion to kind of bounce things off of them. That's not an opportunity many people have. I'm sure that you exercise that to the fullest, but just kind of tell me about what that dynamic was like.
Yeah, I think many people often get the misconception that there's this ungodly amount of pressure on me or Luke to play well. And I can say from personal experience, that is not true at all. My parents are always like, hey, if you want to play baseball or football or whatever it is, go for it, and we'll support you all the way through. So just having them as a support base has been tremendous. Obviously, with my dad playing as much baseball as he has, it's been great to bounce ideas off of him as I've gotten better and learned the game of baseball and football. So just having him there just to talk through situations, experiences, going through ruts, going through periods of success. I mean, it's been awesome. So I'm super blessed.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I imagine it's been pretty cool. You probably met some pretty awesome people through him as well. I don't know exactly who those people might be, but if you could kind of share on that, that'd be really cool as well.
Yeah, no, it was great to Grew up in that Red Sox locker room, getting to meet guys like David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez. I mean, I'm forgetting so many guys too that I met that I've just loved them as people, personality wise. Went to Joe Castiglione's retirement party pretty much at Fenway this year, and got to see Pedro, meet other Red Sox Hall of Famers, and just players like that. It's so cool to be around excellence, and then obviously going to Dave Ortiz's Hall of Fame induction was really cool. I mean, you look around and see Mariano Rivera over here. Then you look the other way and see Wade Boggs or like all these just Hall of Fame, super high achieving players. And it's like, man, like, what did I do to deserve to be here, right? And it's like, man, like I truly have felt so blessed and privileged to have gotten to meet the people that I've met through just playing and being around the game of baseball.
Absolutely, man. I'm sure it's extremely inspiring as well. So let's get into a little bit of your baseball career a little bit more. So obviously, I know you went to New Hanover High School for high school, which is in
Oh
Wilmington,
yeah.
North Carolina. For those who don't know, where did you play middle school at, by the way?
So I went to a place called Noble for middle school.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually
Yeah.
went to yeah. So I went to a private school called Myrtle Grove Christian School from years kindergarten to seventh grade. And then for eighth grade, I wanted to play football at a public school, and my school didn't have football, so I decided to transfer over to Noble. And I had a bunch of friends that I played baseball and football with over the years that went to Noble, so I thought it'd be a seamless, fun transition.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we'll get into New Hanover a little bit. Obviously, you played baseball and football there. Starting quarterback, left field. Talk about kind of that dynamic, kind of being a top dog on campus. What was that like?
Yeah, it was truly, again, so much fun. And I think the years 1 through 3 for me there, I was very much not the top dog. I was with guys like
Yeah.
Blake Walston, Kyle
Yep.
Smith, Alex Sniffen, Jack Kroom, like just D1
Mhm.
talent everywhere, in baseball and in football as well. I mean, just getting to kind of be around guys who are, again, high achievers, guys that expect the most out of themselves, guys that expect to win every single time they step on the field, just really helped me kind of tailor my mindset to be like, hey, man, if they can do it, I can do it. Just being around them and just being around that constant competitiveness just really inspired me my last year to when I was the quarterback and where I did start every single day in baseball. I think the experience became so much more enjoying and fulfilling.
So yeah, so do you have one or two state championship rings in baseball?
I have two in baseball and one in football.
Nice,
Football,
nice.
I was comfortably the third string quarterback on the sideline. I would at times just kind of like help out whenever people needed me to help. But yeah, I sat there in the Duke football stadium, rooting my teammates on, and thankfully they got the job done, and I got a ring for not doing really anything. So it was awesome. And then my first one for baseball, I think I may have had a couple pinch hit at bats in playoff games where we're up by a billion runs. Like, hey, Chase, get out there and have fun, right? So I at least played a little bit more the first baseball one than I did in the football one, but the second one I was able to play every single day, and I felt like I was a really big part of that team. Being a part of that, was just so much fun, and just getting to compete with guys that I've played with and against all throughout elementary school, middle school, and then to high school. It was just so much fun for all of us to come together and to yeah, pull it off.
For sure, dude. So walk me through a second state championship game a little bit. I think I pulled up the stats and I saw you might have been like 2 for 3 or something like that. Walk me through that game. Was there any nerves heading into that, or were you used to the environment and not opposed to the pressure? What was going on there?
Yes, I mean, I think that year really, I just remember it so well. I think ended conference play hitting around 270, 280, just okay, to be honest, below average for high standard college players. But that playoffs, I think I hit 390 in the playoffs. So I was just starting to kind of figure out my swing and my approach and everything. And I think going into that second game, we were just so confident in us as a team and us just finding different ways to win. I think that just that confidence that our leaders like Blake, Kyle, Alex Sniffen, Jack Kroom, as confident as they were, it permeated through the rest of the team, including me. And I played well that game, so I was happy to help the team win.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who don't know, Blake Walston was a first round pick out of high school to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think was it pick number 24 or something like that?
Yeah, somewhere in that 20, I think that mid to late 20s range.
Yeah. So I'm sure that was a pretty cool experience getting to kind of see MLB scouts come out and around and watch that whole process. So your last year at New Hanover was the 2020 COVID year, if I'm not mistaken. So you probably played like what, 4 or 5 games?
Just about, yeah. No, it was a crazy time for all of us. I still remember. I think it was like our last game or our last day of school, and we all thought we'd have like, it's cool, early spring break, right? A couple weeks off of school. This whole disease thing will blow it, right over and all that. And lo and behold, it changed the entire course of our world for years to come. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, as for that season though, I think we had high hopes to kind of go out and do what we had done the previous 2 years. We weren't as talented, but we had some key guys back. I was back. Hunter Hodges, who played a big role in us winning that championship as well, was back, as our ace. Chase Hardy, Corey Theory, Riley Marin, my guy Ham. We had pieces back from teams that are players from those teams in the past that knew what it was like to win, to succeed at a high level. So I felt very confident in us, going out and playing well. And obviously it was Luke's first year also, his first taste of varsity baseball. I was super confident in what we had that year.
What was that like? Obviously, it was a small sample size. You kind of got a bigger taste for it at NC State, but what was that like getting to play with your brother? I'm sure that was something that was really special.
Oh man, it was truly surreal because it's always like, hey, we're growing up, we're playing versus each other in the backyard, right? We're 3 years apart in age. We're never really playing together in middle school or rec ball or anything. So getting to do that for the first time playing with my brother was so much fun, man. I think it's a blessing for my family and for me to just go out there and be like, hey, man, I got to play high school ball and high level college ball with my brother, which many people can't say that.
For sure. So after your time at New Hanover, you went on to play at Pro 5. Was the COVID year did it come into making that decision a little bit, getting a little bit more playing time and exposure, that kind of thing, just to kind of string together like a real senior year?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much what it was. A guy from back home, Trey Clucas, who had played at Pro 5 as well,
Yep.
was always talking me into kind of, hey, man, come to Pro 5. We can get you to a big school from there. And me wanting to be in the big spotlight or playing in a at a big place like an SEC or an ACC school, I knew I had to go out and play more and show teams that I had the talent that I knew I had. So yeah, Pro 5 just really turned into a great situation for me. Going in there to the fall, it's my first time really focusing on just baseball because my entire life I had played baseball and football. My summers would consist of football practice in the mornings and then later that day playing a post 10 game or a summer ball game. So I think it was great for me just to focus on baseball, learn the game to a deeper, more advanced extent. Yeah, man, it worked wonders for my career. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I was scrolling through the Pro 5 roster from that season, and it's like almost every single guy on the list went D1. What was it like? Just obviously, you played with a lot of talent in high school as well, but what was it like playing with that sure amount of talent? It was basically a college baseball team.
yeah, I felt supremely confident in our team that we could roll up into a decent conference and win a lot of games. Guys like Ryan Clifford, Eli Serrano, guys are. Ryan Clifford's knocking on the door of playing in the big leagues right now. And Eli was a fourth round draft pick for the Mets last year. Peyton Green drafted as well in the fourth round to the Marlins last year. Again, being around super high achievers, knowing what winning is like, knowing what excellence is like, really just those guys all played a huge factor in my development because I was just around winners. For a really long time, and it was amazing, right? It showed me how to be elite and how to win, and it's something that I can share with anybody I meet, whether it's people from state, people from here at Memphis. That winning culture and that undeniable mental strength and work ethic has really been permeated throughout my life just by being around guys who are also just excellent at what they do.
For sure, man. Yeah. So you go from New Hanover to Pro 5, and then you go and take on NC State. Talk me through your 3 years of time there.
Yeah, man, I loved every second NC State, man. I knew out of Pro 5 that, NC State's one of the best college baseball programs in the country. I didn't really know how good I was at the time, but I had always been a guy that was a risk taker. I love to bet on myself and to do things that, A, I may think are, kind of unrealistic, or B, other people may have their thoughts or opinions on that. I love to do things that move the needle that people want to see, whether I win or lose. And to me, NC State was that great opportunity of, hey, man, like you're coming in here and competing against the best guys in the country, right? You're going into battle for a spot versus guys like Tommy White, like Tommy Tanks, right? Peyton Green, and just like super high achievers, well-known guys that have played in the travel ball ranks for a long time. Going in there to compete with and to build friendships with those guys was so much fun, man. I loved every single second of it. It was truly just an unforgettable experience.
And then so obviously your younger brother Luke comes into NC State. We touched on it a little bit, but just how special was it to play with him at the college level as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, just surreal, man. Seeing Luke's development from freshman year of high school to who he became as a player his sophomore, junior, and senior years was unbelievably cool to see, and just getting to share the field with him. I think it was game 2 of the year. We both started at the same time. Either game 2 or games 4 or 5. I'm not really sure. But that first time when I saw my name and his name on the lineup card together at the ACC level, it was surreal, man. And I am so proud of all the work he's put in. And for us just to have that moment, not once, but multiple times throughout that year. And there's a point in time where me and him started every game together. And it was like, yeah, let's do it, brother. Do it again. But yeah, and I'm super just proud of him for his journey and his development as a player. And I love just watching him go out there and play, man. We talk almost every single day, just baseball, life things, and I'm so proud of him. So
That's awesome. So if I'm not mistaken, y'all also got to go on a trip to Omaha together during your time there. I don't know exactly the results of that, but kind of walk me through just some playoff baseball at that high level.
yeah, well, it's every college baseball player's dream is to go play in Omaha, right? It's the College World Series. It's the creme de la creme of college baseball. And we were a team where we started off kind of slow, but once we hit the April-May stretch, we were really, really good. We, went and beat Virginia at Virginia in the series. Carolina came into play us, beat Carolina in the series. Just had some very, very impressive series wins, and it gave our team a lot of confidence to where we played. We hosted our own regional and won that, and then went to play at Georgia for a super regional, which was super exciting. Won the series there when a lot of people thought we wouldn't win that series. I mean, yeah, going to Omaha, played Kentucky. We had the lead for a long time, and I think it was their big lefty first baseman, I want to say, maybe third baseman. I'm not sure. He had a go-ahead homer, lost that game, and then played Florida in a back and forth game. And they just were one run better than we were that day. So it was tough, but a really fun experience to go out there and play at the pinnacle of what college baseball is.
Yeah. So you lost by 1 run or whatever it was to Florida. Just walk me through how you kind of deal with those tough losses and what your approach is to that. I know some people don't take losses very well, so I'm just interested to hear what your take on that.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing when dealing with losses or setbacks in both baseball and in your personal life is it's kind of how you frame it to yourself, right? It's if you tell yourself that you're a failure, that you suck, that you're the worst ever, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna think those things, and then you're gonna reinforce that belief to where you tell yourself that every single day, and then you become the worst version of yourself. Whereas baseball is the game of ultimate failure. You have to learn how to fail productively, or you are not gonna play this game for a very long time at all. So it's a chess match with your own mind. I would say it's more of hey, how can I take this negative outcome and spin it in a way to where I can go to sleep at night and be like, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, we lost today, but I'm ready to get back on the saddle tomorrow. And that's what baseball is, man. You will lose much more than you win in baseball than being a game of failure. And yeah, man, I think a big part of it is just how you deal with that. And you deal with that with just positive reinforcement, being around your teammates, and just showing up every single day. It's as simple as that. There's no magic potion to it. It's just going back every day and showing up.
Kind of being present and taking it day by day sounds like cool. So let's get into Memphis. What went into your decision to obviously leave NC State, leave your brother, leave what seems to be your dream school to go and play in the American Conference with Memphis?
Well, yeah, leaving state was a very tough thing for me. I loved the coaches there. I loved my teammates. I loved the area. But ultimately, I wanted to be in a place where I could play every single game and not play basically half of the games. Because for me, my goal was to play pro ball. And what I, as a player, needed to do was to go and be in a spot where I could play every day. Right. And that was the biggest reason why I left there. I still have great love for those guys, still root for them and all that. But for me as a player, I needed to go somewhere where I could play every single day. and Memphis, gave me that opportunity. So, as simple as that.
There you go. Yeah. So what has the biggest adjustment been between Memphis and Raleigh? Obviously, two Eastern United States cities. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was at first it was tough, right? I mean, I knew almost nobody here, so it was very much like I was starting over in life. But just yeah, again, man, showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, was a big thing for me. And over time, I built great friendships with my teammates, built great relationships with my coaches, people around here. Getting involved in FCA over here has been great as well. And to where I have a very fun group of people to be around here. I, have loved my Memphis experience probably more than I thought I would, to be honest with you, because I just built so many great friendships and relationships here.
For sure. You seem like you have a really good outlook on things. Like your approach to things is almost different than the mass majority of people. It seems like you kind of are where your feet are and you're able to take things day by day. Where does that come from?
I think we kind of glossed over too. It's just baseball is such a game of failure, and just I mean, even life can be. There are times in life where you just have perceived failure after failure after failure, and it can snowball if you don't check yourself in a way. So think just learning from my experiences in my life of all the great things, of all the bad things that have happened, and learning just to take it one day at a time and to build just positive momentum in just one small way at a time. And I think the biggest thing is my faith in Jesus Christ. I think my faith has been the cornerstone of the way I think. I read my Bible every single day. I think that's my one non-negotiable. I will read my Bible every single day because my church is doing a current 1 year reading of the entire Bible. And it's like a guided devotional reading. And it's usually a couple chapters a day. And I read it every single day. It puts me in the frame of mind that I need to be in. And it just really puts my life in perspective of like, man, like playing baseball is such a small part of who I am as a person. And once I realized that, everything else in my life started to slow down. I think people get caught so much in just living in such a fast paced lifestyle, always trying to get the next thing done, or people just kind of forget to slow down and to live. I think once people can learn that code of just slow yourself down, man. Take 1 minute at a time. You are not guaranteed the next day, the next breath, the next second. To just enjoy it as much as you can.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that through this generation, it's a good thing that people are spreading the word of God and the gospel in the name of Jesus Christ, because it's something that is lacking, I think, in this generation with all the things that are thrown around with social media. There's a lack of love in this world. And I think that's a great way for people to kind of find that. So I appreciate you sharing that message. That was really awesome. How do you relate your faith to baseball? I know you kind of have touched on it, so it's probably going to be a similar answer, but just kind of go through that for me.
I think to put it in a different light, let's take social media for example: Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, etc. Right? There's so much information being poured out into who, as people, we're supposed to be, what we should be doing, how we should be living, what kind of car we should have, what kind of house we should have, what kind of income we should have, what we should invest on in the stock market or the crypto market, there's ways to live from every single person in the world, to where there's just so much information out there, no one really knows what to do. And the key for me is just taking all those voices and just shutting them out and just be like, hey, my voice is going to be the Bible, be what God says. Because if I follow his path and what he has for me, everything else will work itself out. I will get the information I need to have, and it will be given to me. And that's just what it is, man. It's eliminating all the noise from what everyone else tells you that you're supposed to be, and following his way, because his way is the only way to really live and to experience true life. I mean, there's so many stories of people, having loads of money and just being depressed, or be like, man, I mean, what is the meaning of all of this? Whereas there are people that are, by the world's standards, dirt poor, have nothing going for them, that are just the happiest, kindest souls in the world. So I would ask you, like, who's the rich person in that scenario? Who's the one that is wealthy? The person with the money, or the person that's happy and joyful? And I would tell you that the person that's happy and joyful is the wealthy one at the end of the day, because if you're not joyful and you don't love the life that you have, what are you doing? Right? It's like, why would you ever want to live a life that you hate? With that comes sacrifice. You have to work hard to do things that at times you will not like doing, right? You'll have to sacrifice sleep, Netflix, or whatever it may be to go after that wanted life. But as a person on this earth, why would you never want to go after something that you really, really desire? And that's really the thing that seeps into me. And what I try to tell people is like, man, like whatever you're passionate about, go for it. 100% all in on it.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. Like I said, I appreciate you for sharing. If you don't mind, I'd love to kind of get into like your testimony a little bit. Or were you raised in a Christian household? Is that kind of where it came from, or did you have like a certain life event that kind of put things into perspective for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was raised in a Christian household, and I think there have been numerous things in my life that have been, altering life events that have helped me kind of go on this journey as well. Of like, man, like, hey, this awful thing happened to me. How am I going to respond to it? If I say I'm
But
this super strong, tough person, and this thing happens, and I don't act that way, then I'm a coward, right? So it's like it's proven that to yourself as well. Like, hey, man, like when life happens, when things that happen that are out of your hands, how are you going to respond to it? And that, in a way, can determine the course of your life. If you're someone that's just going to complain and pout and have a negative outlook on things, and yeah, you're going to have a really awful life. Unfortunately, that's just how the world works, right? I mean, unfortunately, the world doesn't always honor or, I guess, pay back people that just put in effort. The world, unfortunately, just it honors results. That's what it is. It's like, how can we put our minds in a way to where we can best help our chances get the results that we need to be successful in this world. And that's ultimately what it comes down to.
yeah, and also too, just to kind of add to that, when you're walking with and living with Jesus, it's as if the results are kind of an afterthought because you're content in your relationship and walk.
Oh yeah. Yes. It very much goes back to the premise of enjoy the process, not the final product, because the product will
Yeah,
always kind of be there, but the process of walking with the Lord every single day, putting in the effort, even though you don't see the results all the time, putting in that effort every single day. You teach yourself so many life skills and things that you will use later in your life by just showing up every single day and be like, hey, you know what? My life right now is where I want it to be. Let me go back to work. Let me grind and let me just keep digging in.
for sure. So you talked about FCA a little bit. What are you doing with them?
Yes, we meet every Monday. It's either a player or an athlete here on campus that gives a message, or it's the admins, people that give messages. But yeah, we just come together, talk a little bit, have a message, get into small groups, and just kind of talk about the message and how we're doing in our lives. We celebrate our victories. We ask for prayer, and yeah, and it's a great group where we get to come together and talk about Jesus.
So was that kind of a place that you found community, obviously moving to Memphis and being in this new place? Was that a place you found community?
Yeah, no, absolutely, right. I loved this experience so much because it took me so far out of my comfort zone that I had to do things that I wouldn't normally do. Whereas go out to, I did go to AIA at NC State. I was a big part of that as well, to where I had a good community there as well. But yeah, and just coming out here to meet people that I just had never met in my entire life, and just kind of going there and getting over the hey, I don't know you. I shouldn't talk to you, like that kind of fear was great for me, man, and just kind of building a community that has been there for me through everything. So it's been
That's
awesome.
awesome. So you kind of talked about getting out of your comfort zone a little bit. It seems like that's kind of been a common theme in your life. You go from New Hanover, which is home, you go from there to Pro 5. You go from Pro 5 to NC State to kind of test yourself and see if you can compete with all these top guys like you were saying before. And then from there you go to Memphis to bet on yourself, and you put yourself in a situation that's completely out of the norm and not familiar for you. Are you used to putting yourself in positions that are out of your comfort zone? Is that a place where you like to live so you can continue to keep kind of leveling up your life in a way?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love living outside of the comfort zone because it gives me the chance to become a better version of myself. I can shock other people, I can shock myself. And that's really the greatest thing, too, is going in to do something that you're not totally 100% sure about and then achieving better things than you thought you ever could. I think there's such a great, rewarding feeling to that it's just, it gets addictive, man. Like you want to go out there and accomplish the next great thing, because it's every person wants to get behind someone who does incredible things, right? I think
Mhm.
there's this misconception of people that are just so great that they have no insecurities or no fears or anxieties. Every person on this earth has things that bother them. Everyone does. And even just because you're some champion or the best at what you do does not mean that you don't go through those same things. Like Tyson Fury, former heavyweight champion boxer of the world, talks about his mental health and how it brought him to his knees. For me, I loved that message because it shows that no matter who you are or what you do, we as people are all very, very similar. And because of that, it's very easy for people to get behind others and root for them. And I've always wanted to be someone that inspires other people to be the best version of themselves. Because I was a kid that was afraid of failure, afraid of looking bad, afraid of losing, right? And watching all these other great people in my life, like Tyson Fury, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, like guys that just have lost so much in their life in terms of just position battles or whatever it may be. And then just to turn those losses around into being transcendental in what they do, it really inspired me to become the best version of myself. And because of that, I want to use my platform and my abilities to give other people hope that they can do the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. That's awesome. So let's pivot a little bit. Let's get into who Chase Nixon is outside of baseball. What are your hobbies? What are you passionate about outside of the game of baseball?
Yeah, I love watching movies. I love playing video games. I play a little bit of the college football, the Madden, the MLB The Show, NBA 2K, FIFA as well. I would say that watching movies and TV shows and playing video games takes up most of my free time. I do like to just kind of relax because I'm so tired. After coming home from the field from a long, strenuous day, I just love to come back here and just disconnect, unplug, and or not disconnect. I mean, just plug into a different world, right?
Yeah. What system are you playing on?
I play on the Xbox, but thankfully, most of the games I play are crossplay, so I do get to play against the PlayStation guys as well.
I have been an Xbox guy growing up, and I pivoted to PlayStation, which
Oh
was
wow, how's
I
that?
kind of like it better. I won't lie, I
You
kind of like
really?
it better.
Wow.
Yeah, I like the controller and the graphics a little bit better. But I like the layout of the Xbox better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for me, like the hard part is the X button on the PlayStation is what the A button is on the Xbox. So like
Yeah,
dealing with that and like playing Madden, all the buttons are on the screen to kind of decide where you should throw the ball and all that stuff, and having to deal with that XA kind of like transfer thing, like was just
yeah.
ridiculous. That's why I just stuck with the Xbox. I'm like like you know what, like I'm a creature of habit. I've done this for a long time. I'm gonna stay on Xbox. So I'm just stubborn. I'm just gonna do that. So that's my very niche reasoning for why I've not moved to PlayStation.
Hey, I get it, man. I definitely had that issue whenever I switched over. Shoot, man. I'm trying to think if I've got anything else for you. What's your favorite movie, dude? You touched on movies. Let's hear that.
Yeah, I love the action movies. Like I love the Taken series with Liam Neeson, John Wicks. Movies like that really inspire me. I also love the Avengers movies as well. All of them, man. I think I've seen pretty much all of them, and I followed the series pretty heavily. I remember my buddies and I were literally in line to either watch Infinity War or Endgame for like 2 hours. And like I've never done that before in my life, and I probably will never do that ever again. We were so excited for that movie. It's like, wow, like who knew that this 1, 2, 3 hour movie could make me sit in a line for 2 hours? So it's like, man, it's things with stories behind them really, really interest me, whether it's, a movie or TV show. So I love just kind of following storylines, if that makes sense. I also love the UFC and boxing as well. I follow both the UFC and boxing pretty closely, and it's fun, man.
Who's your favorite fighter?
That's tough. I've been an Adesanya fan for a long time. I love Israel Adesanya, but man, I have so much respect for all the guys, man. Like Alex Pereira is super cool. Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, obviously Conor McGregor. Guys that are just kind of transcendental in their personalities and their fighting styles. They're just easy to kind of fall in love with before. They don't always do the greatest things off the mat, but like watching them go in there and to compete and show off their skills is truly so much fun.
For sure. That Michael Chandler fight was a hard watch the other night. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it was, man. Patty looked really good. I hadn't watched much of Patty Pimmel in my life, but I was really impressed with what I saw for him, and I'm super excited to follow his career moving forward. He has the chance to be a big, big star for that company.
For sure, for sure. So some of your outside of your dad, obviously, who are some of your baseball inspirations? Who do you look up to kind of model your game after, that kind of thing?
Yeah, a couple guys. Bryce Harper comes to mind. Juan Soto as well. I just love the way that they both approach the game, the way they hit, their approaches, their styles of play. So I would say my two favorites are probably Bryce Harper and Juan Soto. I also love Kyle Schwarber as well. I think those three really been great influences for me.
Sweet. I've got one more question for you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. So my last question is, who would you want to see next on the show? And the catch is that you have to try and help me get them on the show. So
Okay, well, what do you want me? What candidates do you mean? What are you looking for right now?
just anybody in the sports world, man. Anybody that comes to mind to you that you think could sit down and have a good conversation with me.
Yeah, I think I can probably call Tom Brady up and see if he want to do it. I mean, You wanna
You're
do that or
serious or
what?
joking? I was about to say. I was about to say. I mean, I would love to, man. I would love to blow up overnight.
That'd be great, yeah. If you got him on here, I would come in here and also talk and also take credit for that as well. But, yeah, I think I think you should stay in the Nixon household and go with my brother. I think it'd be cool.
Perfect. I'd love to do that, and just put me in contact with him, and we'll get it all sorted out. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, I think it'd be a great watch. I'd watch the entire thing all the way through, so that'd be good.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. This video should be out in just a few days, so I am looking forward to you guys seeing this one. Thank you so much, Chase, for coming on. And yeah, this was an awesome conversation. I really appreciate it, man.